Last week we were looking at advanced actions within NARM 68, and this week we're going to be turning our focus to hazard actions. So without further ado, let's head down to the gaming table and let's check out how they work in the game. So over the last couple of episodes, we've had a look at the turn sequence and the various types of actions you can do within that turn sequence. Now, as you are taking your turn, it doesn't mean that the enemy doesn't do anything. In fact, actually, during your turn, the enemy may have the opportunity to do something else, and vice versa when it is their turn. Within the turn sequence, one of the actions that your opponent will do whilst you're having your go is they will draw a single morale counter from the pot, and this is mentioned in the episode on the turn sequence. Now, this token will reveal to them how many hazard actions they can activate throughout your turn. Once completed, that token then returns to the pot. Any hazard actions not used also are lost at the end of the turn. So within the turn, there are 5 hazards a commander can invoke in their enemy's turn. However, only 4 per side. And to summarise, these are those hazard actions. The first is return fire. Next, we have an ammo check. Then we have a resolve check. And then for the referee only, we can do a detonate booby trap. And then for the US player only, we can have move civilian. So let's go through these hazard actions in turn. And we're going to start with return fire. Now, in this example, our lead person at the front of this column of troops has taken some fire, has put some suppressing fire down on a target somewhere in the jungle by the building on the right. Now, the enemy, once this individual has put the fire or declared they're going to be using the suppressing fire, the enemy may now use a hazard action to declare they will be returning fire. In this event, the suppressing fire is rolled for and completed, and then if the target has not been pinned or wounded, then they may return fire on the individual that has fired or any other individual within that unit. So next up, we have the ammo check. Now, in this example, we're going to imagine that the point man at the far right of this group of models has already fired in the previous turn. And the reason I say that is because an ammo check cannot be invoked on a model that is firing for the first time within the game. However, once they fired, any subsequent fire actions can have an ammo check put on that model by an enemy force using the hazard action. So within the turn sequence, the model will be given a basic action or an advanced action, and that would either be suppressing fire or targeted fire. Once they have done that fire action, then the hazard action is invoked and they need to take an ammo check. Now, for an ammo check, we need to go to the hazard section on page 35, and the ammo check weapons table is there, and the individual then roll a d6 to determine whether they're out of ammo or not. Next up, we have the resolve check. Now, imagine in this scenario that the front chap at the front of the column, I have given an advanced action to sprint to the building on the right. Now, once I've declared that, and before I move that figure, the opponent may choose to place a hazard action invoking a resolve check. And in order for me to be able to sprint, I need to take a resolve check. And essentially, this highlights what might be happening with bullets flying around. The individual might not have the courage to stand up, let alone sprint across. So to take the resolve check, we would turn to page 41 and roll a d6 to see if they pass the resolve check. If they do pass, then they can carry on the sprint move as per usual. And if they don't, then they become pinned and cannot move. Next up, we have the hazard action, detonate booby trap check. And this can be invoked only by the referee. Now, in order for them to invoke this hazard action, an enemy model, so in this case a US model, needs to have approached within 2 inches of a location that's been pre-chosen to be a hidden booby trap. Now, in this example, I'm using the van as one of those pre-chosen booby traps. Now, depending on the model's rate of movement, whether it's a cautious movement or a sprint, depends on what needs to be rolled. So in the case of a cautious move, the US player would roll a d6, and on a 4+, the booby trap goes off. Obviously, if they roll a 1 to 3, the booby trap doesn't go off, it's malfunctioned, and essentially you lose that booby trap. Now, if a model is doing a sprint move, then or is in a vehicle, then the booby trap sets off on a 2+. So basically, unless you roll a 1, the booby trap's going off. If you do roll a 1, then it doesn't go off, it's malfunctioned, and it's lost for the rest of the game. Now, the hazard action detonate booby trap check should be invoked immediately when the enemy model moves within 2 inches of the booby trap. And any movement that would have carried on past it should not carry on until the check is complete. And finally, we move on to the last hazard action, which is move civilian. And this is only able to be played by the US player during the VC's turn. For this, the US player may invoke to move a civilian, and it has to be a single unpinned civilian model. Now, the US player will give them a sprint move and is controlled by the US player themselves. This move can be in any direction, and if they head off the table, then they are removed from play with no bonus to either side. Now, if the model was a VC infiltrator, like the one we have in front of the van here, then the referee must firstly declare that the infiltrator has run away, they've been lost, and the VC side should take a morale counter. And this hazard action can be invoked at any time during the VC side's turn between other actions. So there we have it, a very quick run through of the hazard actions, all 5 of them, remembering 4 can be used by one side and 4 by the other side. And for a summary of these, other than this video, do check out pages 14 and 15 in the rulebook. If you want to have a bit more detail on these hazard actions, then check out pages 34 to 36 and you'll get more detail and some of the charts required for carrying out these hazard actions. Now, if you've been enjoying this series, then do please hit that like button, leave a comment, and even consider subscribing to the channel. Your support is greatly appreciated, and it definitely gives me the enthusiasm to continue to produce these videos. And in the future, I will even consider doing a similar style series for other rule sets. Now, next Wednesday, I'll be turning up the heat a little bit more as we start to look at some of the firing mechanisms for this rule set. So do tune in next Wednesday where we'll be going through how to do the various types of firing. And if you prefer something a little bit more Wild West, then do check out my video on Sunday where I'll be doing a review of the latest supplement for Dead Man's Hand, the Bad and the Ugly. So until next time, take care, stay safe, and we'll see you soon.